The Blackhawks are in Colorado to face the Avalanche. Uh-oh. Happy Saturday. Welcome into the CHGO Blackhawks pregame podcast, Blackhawks at Avalanche. We are presented by Bet365. Download the app. Use our code CHGO365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. I'm Jay Zawaski with Mario Tirabassi. Chloe Thiel is here running the show in her Avalanche gear. As always, it's fine. She's paying for dinner. That's how that works. Do us a favor, hit that like button. And be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page. We are going to hear from Jeff Blashel shortly as the Hawks get ready to play the Colorado Avalanche. Spencer Knight will get the start in goal as the Hawks play again tomorrow at 3 in Utah.
That's, hey, you want your best chance to win? Put Booby in. Spencer Knight. Have you never seen that movie, Friday Night Lights?
I've never seen that movie.
Oh my.
I haven't. I don't know how.
All right, we're canceling the show and we're putting on Friday Night Lights. Why?
I freaking lived it.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I don't want your life.
Show.
You played.
That's a different movie.
It was a book.
Okay.
Then it was a movie. Then it was a show.
I've seen the show.
Okay. You got to see the movie.
I know ball.
Yeah.
Can we just watch the movie instead of the game?
Sure.
I would love to do that.
Sweet.
I want to watch the game, though.
Yeah,
I know you do.
Anyways, in the movie, Booby Miles, who's hurt, but says he wants to play, says if you want to win, put Booby in. Anyways, you want to win, you want to play Spencer Knight.
It's a good life philosophy. We all agree on.
Not surprised. Knight gets the start. Asset management. Can't risk getting Arvid Soderblom hurt when the Oilers need a goalie. So keep playing Spencer Knight.
Hey, man. Sam Bowman, if he can identify anything, it's a goalie.
Oh, sure.
As we've seen.
Yeah.
Nope. All right, let's hear from Jeff Blashel. I'll hear what he has to say, and we should have the lineups by then, so stick around.
Some of the players are talking about with the D-zone exits and the breakouts, like we were talking about yesterday, that there's a kind of a different system that you guys are using out of the break. Is that true?
What about it?
It had, like, did you change some of the? I know you don't want to say what you changed, but like, did you change some of the system, like the structure for?
Yeah,
how
which
the breakouts
we it's not really the breakouts per se. It's the basic same stuff in the breakouts. It's just, you may be a little bit more predictable where guys are standing, and I think the biggest thing we got to do is just be able to handle the pressure that you face in those situations, and so that's having poise, that's skating out of pressure a little bit, and then it's also having great support, and so I think that's the biggest pieces of it.
Like, I know you changed the D-zone structure. I was just wondering if this is an independent change from that.
No, not independent. It's based. It's always going to be based on your D-zone. The one thing with the structure is it probably is a little more predictable where people are going to be.
Mm-hmm. Do you lean on video more with the young guys, or do you find that's a more useful tool as they're adapting in the NHL at all?
The video, like their play.
Yeah.
We watch with all our guys. To be honest with you, not just our young guys, and each coach has guys that they're kind of oversee. So we do it individually. We're pretty lucky here too. We got Brian Kane does a lot. Like his sole focus when he breaks down games is individual stuff. So it's more on a offensive side a lot of times. But I think that's a pretty lucky thing to have. And then we do it as a team. But I think it's a useful tool for any player. And the one thing we never want to do is feel like any players hit their ceiling. We want to keep helping them get better.
The team's kind of surprising that the Avs are in the bottom of the league with the power play. Do you on your PK? Do you kind of want to see the team create those shorthanded opportunities?
Well, regardless of what their percentage has been this year, they have a lot of weapons, and sometimes it's just confidence, and it's the way it goes sometimes. And we know it's a dangerous power play. Our first focus is to kill the penalty. You certainly, when we get opportunities, we want to try to score. I think when you can create scoring opportunities on your PK, it puts power plays on their heels. And if you get a reputation of doing that a lot, I think you go into games on your heels. But we're not quite there yet. We've created some opportunities, but we can still create more. But number one, you got to kill the penalty.
Do you know if Kaiser is going to join you on the trip? Or?
I don't anticipate Kai's joining us on the trip. I think, I think we're hoping that he'll go full practice next Thursday when we get back. And that, honestly, part of that is just, we're not going to practice Monday. It's just hard to get back in when you don't practice at all. So I think I'd anticipate him practicing full on Thursday, and then we'll see where his availability is from there.
If Korchinski isn't playing, is there still, I guess, just the benefit of being up here and experiencing any of this, or is it working with him in ways?
I think so. I think you learn from those, when you get your eyes open a little bit to the everyday NHL, especially, the fact that we had all those practices, that was, I think, real beneficial to him. And, development can happen in a lot of different ways. It doesn't simply just happen by playing games. It happens through seeing others. It happens, we got great models here to kind of model your games after, or certain parts of it. Being in those practices, I think, gives him an idea of where he's at and what he needs to get better at and all those kind of things. So I think it can be helpful to his development.
All right, that's Jeff Blashel. Thanks to the Chicago Blackhawks for use of that video. As always, we appreciate that. A little bit of news here. It looks like Sam Renzel, who is not on the ice for warm-ups and will be a scratch, is out, and Kevin Korchinski is in.
Interesting.
This just came out, so we don't have a graphic for you. We're just going to tell you, so listen. Bedard, Green, Burkovski, we'll talk about that in a moment. Nazar, Moore, Teravainen, Dickinson, Bertuzzi, Mikheyev, Foligno, Donato, Slaggert. Your D pairs are Vlasic, Crevier, Grzelcyk, Levshinov, Korchinski, and Murphy. And like we said to start the show, Spencer Knight gets to start in goal. So Kevin Korchinski is in. This will be his third game of the year?
Yes.
I'm glad he's in.
Third game of the year.
I don't know if, like you said, when we were listening to Jeff.
Colton Doc is in.
Oh, Doc is in for Slaggert.
Yes.
Okay.
Donato, Foligno, Doc is your fourth line.
All right.
Anyways.
I'm glad Korchinski's in. I'm not sure Renzel would have been the defenseman I would have scratched.
Yeah, not the right shot defenseman I would have taken out of the lineup to put Korchinski in after the last game on Thursday. But you know what? I'm not going to flip a table that Renzel is sitting because it means Korchinski's in. That's what we've wanted to see since basically the break happened and we knew that Korchinski was coming up and he was getting into practices and everything. Like, this is a guy that we haven't seen a lot of at the NHL level since his rookie year. I know he had about 16 games last year. Like you said, this will be his third game this year. Like, I want to see where he's at now as a 21-year-old kid and see where his game is at. Get him more runway towards the end of this season and see what you have in him. So if this is a step in that direction, good. I'm glad to see him get in this game. Pair him with Murphy. I'm fine with that. Give him someone you can trust on his side, and see what happens. I mean, and also you get tossed into a fire to play the Colorado Avalanche.
That's
so
interesting.
That's it's going to be a tough assignment, but it's an everyday league, as we've heard all season from Blashel and this group with regards to the NHL. So if you were playing Vancouver or if you were playing Colorado, you have to be ready to go no matter what.
Is Vancouver the opposite of Colorado?
They're last place in the league.
It's awesome.
So
everyone's very happy about that.
So yeah, I mean, it's right. As last I looked.
Yeah. So this is Kevin Korchinski's 95th NHL game. Not even 100 games yet under his belt. So I think there's still a lot to be determined here. And someone in the chat said, are they showcasing him for a trade? If they're showcasing him for a trade, I'm not playing him against Colorado. There's no, because the chances are there's going to be at least a moment or two.
You need him to play, but yeah.
Yeah, where he is made to look bad. And he won't be the only one, by the way.
Oh, sure.
I mean, that's what the Avalanche do to everyone in the league.
Yeah.
So it is an interesting choice to throw him out here for his first game. Look, he hasn't played a game in 3 weeks.
Well, no, he played in the games after the AHL All-Star break was over. The Ice Hogs had, I think they returned to action with like 3 games in 3 days. Pretty sure he played in those.
So it was like
games.
what, February 13th or something?
Yeah,
the All-Star game was the 11th. So if he played on the 16th,
13th, 14th,
it's been 2 weeks since he's played a game.
15th. Okay. I mean, he's a young guy. I'm not worried about rust or anything like that. He's had these weeks of this week of practice with the group in the mini training camp during the break. So I think he'll be completely fine as far as having his legs ready to go. So I'm not worried about that.
I'm definitely excited to see him play. I'm excited to see him play, and I hope that it's not a one-off where he's just in the game today and then he won't play tomorrow against Utah, and then him and Renzel switch in and out. I want to see him get an extended run here. And look, if Murphy is traded, as we all sort of suspect he will be, a spot opens up and maybe he slots in every night that way. But you've got to kind of figure out what you've got from him here. He's not the only story of this game, though. I know we'll spend a lot of time on him in the post game. It is another opportunity on the top line for Andre Burkovski. And I'm not going to get it, man. I don't know. Is he the kind of guy where you think he can only function in the top 6? Because he's not really functioning there. So I'm not sure why is he incapable of sitting too.
I don't know. I'm sick of seeing games where he does the same things over and over again, where puck possession is bad. And Connor Bedard said after the game last night, like, oh, he was unreal and setting up grade A chances. That's sure. I mean, he is a guy that can do that, but it's too much give and take, and I don't feel like we're getting a net positive out of Burkovski. And until you do, you gotta give guys who are giving you a net positive on the ice better opportunities. And as we get to the final 24 games of the season, I want it to be young guys. I want the young guys to have the opportunities, and so continuing to roll with Burkovski on the top line, top 6. I don't know that the way that the team lines up, the way that they have the lines matched, I don't see it. And again, I'm not an expert. I've watched a lot of hockey, less than Jeff Blashel has. But I don't see it to where you need to have Burkovski strapped to Bedard's wing. I think the guy that you want strapped to Bedard's wing right now, out of that top line, I'd rather have it be Ryan Green than Andre Burkovski.
Burkovski has 1 assist in the last 14 games.
Yeah. I mean, he hasn't been producing.
How is that possible? If you are playing on the top 6 every night for 14 games, you only have 1 assist? That is almost impossible to pull off. You could put Landon Slaggert up there. You could put Samuel Savoie up there. You could put my fat ass on the 4th line. And I think I could manage more than 1 assist in 14 games. I'm sorry. I just don't understand how, and if it's analytic driven, okay, fine. We got the purple lines at the end of the game, and he was like the 3rd or 4th highest ranked Hawk. You know why? Because he's on the line with Connor freaking Bedard. And if you're trying to, maybe you want to get more out of Ryan Donato, then at least you know you're going to get a full effort from Ryan Donato. He's going to come out there and do the best he can on the time he's on the ice. 1 assist in 14 games? That is asinine. How can that be?
It's not good production.
If I had the technological skill to go through Hockey Reference and be like, guys who played, even if you were to say forwards who played 17 minutes in power play time that have 1 point in their last 14 games, it can't happen. Look, at some point, great. Analytics are wonderful. It's hard to only put up that 1 point. Mm-hmm. It's difficult with the opportunity you're on the ice. You'd think one would hit you and go to the stick blade of a teammate.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when the puck is going to the opposite team and not his own team far too often, then I mean it doesn't it doesn't help you. I don't see I don't know. I don't see it. And he's not a checking guy. He's not going to help you defensively. So putting him down the lineup on a third line with Dickinson and McKay, or putting him on the fourth line with the rotation of Foligno, Slaggert, Doc, whoever you throw down there, it doesn't put him in a play style position that benefits him. But I don't know. I don't know where else you put him to try and at least get some sort of effectiveness out of him, but just continuously running him out there with Bedard, giving him, power play in the top minutes. I don't see what he's done to earn that. I think we've seen other combinations in smaller sample sizes work that don't get a lot of run. So it's confusing, but this is where we're at this time. When we get past Friday, the trade deadline, we'll see who the guys are that are here beyond the deadline and how the lineup shakes out. There's maybe 2 forwards that they get rid of, or that they trade rather, to not be so negative, but there's 2 guys that they probably trade in Dickinson and McKay. And you got to think Nick Lardis comes up. You already have 2.
You'd have more than one assist.
You already have 2 forwards that you are scratching. So then, probably Slaggert and Doc both get into the lineup consistently. But those are fourth line guys. So then maybe you have Ryan Donato up from a fourth line or third line spot. You could play him with Bedard. That worked out last year. You could give Lardis some top 6 opportunities, which I think that would be where you want him to play, especially with the group that they're going to have moving forward. So it'll play out over the next week or so. But unless Burkovski goes out and gets a 4-point night tonight or something like that, I don't know. I don't see it that he keeps getting run out there. And we've been saying he's still the third highest scorer on the team. The gap between him and the top 2, Bedard and Bertuzzi, continues to get wider.
Yes.
And that's a team issue. They don't really have the depth of scoring, but the fact that it's still he's not running with them in the numbers going up is the issue.
Look, if he is incapable of doing anything but playing in the top 6 and he's not performing in the top 6, he should sit. This is my, if I'm trying to find a criticism of Jeff Blashel, this is it. It's different rules for different guys and different rules for different experience levels. You mentioned Nick Lardis, who got sent down to Rockford after playing pretty well in his time here. We know he's going to be back, right? He'll be back before the end of this year. Maybe never goes back again. We can hope. You mean to tell me that if he was here for the last 14 games, he wouldn't have more than 1 assist playing with Connor Bedard?
Yeah.
It's impossible. It's impossible. It's incredibly aggravating. The news here from Ben Pope, by the way, Sam Renzel's out due to an illness.
Okay.
Per the Blackhawks. So who knows what that means for Kevin Korchinski tomorrow. If Sam Renzel is feeling better, it seems like Blashel's intention was to play Renzel today. That's how the lines looked in practice yesterday.
Yeah.
He was there. So we'll see what it means. I hope he takes this opportunity and runs with it. When we talked to Kevin Korchinski at the All-Star game and when he was here a little bit, he doesn't seem to be a guy who's overly frustrated with the lack of opportunities he's getting. He seems patient. He seems like he understands the big picture. But I hope at the same time, it's good. You don't want to see a guy down in the dumps, confidence destroyed. But I hope he understands the urgency here for him. This is an opportunity. And look, when he was called up and Jeff Blashel was asked, what's the plan? The response was, just because you're here doesn't mean you're playing. You have to earn it.
Right.
So this is a chance for him. Hopefully he gets some power play time. I assume he will, unless they put Levshinov and Grzelcyk on the power play, which they could do.
I would imagine that's probably what Blashel's going to do, rather than throw Korchinski out onto the power play.
I'm here to see it
in a game that he probably wasn't going to play in. But I mean, I'm all for giving him that chance. It's probably going to be Levshinov because he has the experience before. That's probably something Jeff Blashel would go back to, and yeah, Grzelcyk on the other unit as well.
I hope so. I just want to see him. I want to see him thrive. I want to see him shine. I want to see him play well. So we know this summer that is someone they want back, and it's someone they're gonna, because they have to. Mm-hmm. He's an RFA this summer. I don't think they're gonna move on from him, but I hope he takes advantage of this opportunity.
Yeah, and I think he, like you said, I think he understands it. I think he gets that the organization still has hopes for him, plan for him, I'd imagine. And when he was brought up, it really felt like, okay, this is one, Kaiser's hurt, so it's insurance, and two, you're likely moving Connor Murphy, so it's insurance for whenever that happens. And I think we all would have guessed that Kevin Korchinski was the guy that the team was going to bring up once that roster spot opened up. So you got him up here, you got him around the group, you got him in the practices and got him on the road with the team. That's good for him to get into that atmosphere, get into that setting, and now he gets a chance to play. So, I would hope that he takes advantage of it, and you're not going to get a lot of opportunities just handed to you when it's you're up and you're kind of just waiting your turn to get in the lineup, and then boom, here's an illness, now you're in. I'd like to hope that the urgency sets in and he rises to the occasion. Again, it's going to be a tough matchup going against the Avalanche, who are the Avalanche, best team in the league. I know there's been a little bit made about their power play being last in the league, but they're still the best team in the NHL right now, even with the league's worst power play.
It's unreal.
Honestly, that kind of speaks more to how talented the team is.
I'm telling you,
that they can
too much talent.
They can kill you at 5-on-5, and I hope Korchinski has I hope he has a good game. I think the worst thing, and I'm going to knock on wood because people think jinxes are real. But the worst thing that could happen for him is that he gets in and it's just an abomination of a game. That would I think tank a lot of spirits.
That would be rough, definitely. All right, before we I want to shift a little bit because if you heard 32 Thoughts yesterday, something Hawks fans should know. But Ben Pope pointing out, here are the teams scouting this game today: Vegas, Toronto, Utah, Tampa, Montreal, LA Kings, Stars, Canucks, and Blue Jackets. Those are the teams scouting the Avalanche and Blackhawks. 32 Thoughts yesterday. He kind of went team by team, Elliot Friedman did, of who the sellers would be. And before he did that, he kind of made a caveat to say that it is way more of a seller's market than a buyer's market, especially when it comes to defensemen. There are a ton of defensemen available.
A lot of options
right now. So I don't know what that means in terms of what the Hawks can expect to get back for Connor Murphy, or if Connor Murphy gets traded at all. If there's this massive availability for defensemen, I'll say this: right-hand shot benefits Murphy, affordability benefits Murphy. So it makes him, I think, in terms of value, Connor Murphy's going to be one of the best deals out there.
You can get him down to a $2 million.
That's
defenseman.
A great deal.
Yeah, a guy who can be a second or third pair guy. Yeah, I think that's a great option for some teams.
But I think it's just you might want to temper your expectations going into Friday.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have it high. I think we've seen other times where the trade market feels like you can get into some bidding wars, but it doesn't seem like that's going to be the case. Things can change. People's opinion, people's mindsets for some teams can change over the course of a few days leading up to the trade deadline. I mean, we have still a log jam of teams that are still trying to figure out, like, are we going for it? Are we not? But yeah, I think as far as Murphy and Dickinson, and McKay's name has popped up as well.
Good to that too.
I think if you're looking for more than a pick or two mid picks or whatever, probably setting yourself up for some disappointment, because those guys are not the top of the list. They're very much like second and third options down the list of guys who are considered available on the trade block.
Mikheyev, who you mentioned, also came up, and Friedman said that he believes the Hawks tried to make him a contract offer. He didn't say that he declined it, but just kind of said they weren't able to get anything done. Threw that out on Twitter yesterday, and the response was, "Wow, they can't even get a deal done with Mikheyev." I think it is. There's a couple things that are safe to assume here. I think that Ilya Mikheyev sees this as probably his last chance to get a sizable deal, right? He's not going to make $10 million by any means, but he is 31 years old. This will be his last and probably biggest contract. He probably also wants a little bit of security. Mm-hmm. And as much as all of us really like Ilya Mikheyev, there's no doubt about it, he's probably not a guy that Davidson wants to give more than a year or two of an extension. To me, the max would be 2. I would go with Mikheyev. And he probably wants more than that. And look, you negotiate your deal. He's an unrestricted free agent after this year. It is well within his rights to go out there and see what's available for him and decide if he wants to come back to Chicago or go sign somewhere else long term. Now, he's comfortable here. He's happy here. He has said so. Mm-hmm. So I think maybe it's similar to what Ryan Donato went through last year, where he's not signed yet. Free agency goes on for a little while. And then ultimately it comes back and the two teams agree on a deal. Yeah. And everyone's happy. Maybe that's what happens with Mikheyev, but I don't want to give him more than 2 or 3 years because I don't even want to go 3, to be honest. I'll go 2 because you've got a lot of guys on the bottom 6 coming up through the pipeline. We don't have to list them all here, but just a couple like Boisvert, like Spellacy, and then even years beyond that, like Mason West, Vaclav Nestor. You don't want to have those spots tied up by veterans. And look, can you move him out at that point? Yes, but maybe if he's going to sign a shorter-term deal, he wants a no-movement clause so he doesn't have to worry about that. There's a lot here. So I think I wouldn't panic to say, look, the Hawks they're low-balling Ilya Mikheyev or anything like that. I think it is smart general managing for Kyle Davidson to not just give him 4 or 5 years just because you like him right now and then 2 years from now regret it.
Yeah, I think I think you're right with not wanting to go beyond 2 years because, as we've heard from Davidson in the lead up to this trade deadline, is that they want to continue to open up spots for young guys to come in. And these guys that you are putting the future on their shoulders. Mikheyev's been, it's undeniable that Mikheyev has been great this year on the penalty kill. Last year, he put in 20 goals. Like, that was a good season for him as well. Since he's been here, he's been a reliable guy, someone that you can put into different situations and be happy with what he's going to give you, 5-on-5 penalty kill, whatever it is. I would be fine if he came back on a 2-year deal. I'm fine with that. I think that covers you with some veteran presence, with a guy that can be effective, gives some of those players that you mentioned time to continue to mature as they become professionals. Like, that's step 1. Step 2 is then becoming, NHL regulars and guys you can rely on. So I would be fine with that. If they end up moving Mikheyev, you're maximizing value, which is another conversation that we've had with Kyle Davidson. It's like, if you're making trades with some of these guys, do it when you're going to be able to get the most out of it and make it make sense. If that happens, it stinks to see Mikheyev go, knowing how effective he has been. But I think you then give an opportunity to other players to take up that spot at 5-on-5, take up that spot and those responsibilities on the PK, and give them that chance to kind of grow their game as well. I think of a guy like Oliver Moore. Ryan Green could get more responsibility. I think there's lots of ways that whatever happens with him in the future can go, and I think it brings a benefit in depending on how you want to look at it. I would want him back on a short-term deal, but again, it comes down to what he wants to do. He says he likes Chicago, but you just got to see like what makes the most sense for both player and the team.
Cap Wages predicts his next deal will be 3 years by $3.7 million. Fine. If that's what it's going to be, fine. I'll give him that extra year if the term's going to be that low. There's Jim in the chat says 3 years, $15 million. I don't think it's going to take $5 million to get Mikheyev signed. 3x3, 3x4. Okay, you've got cap space. I'm not going to love that third year, but I don't think McKay, if you got to play him on the fourth line and have him as a PK specialist at the end of that, cool. I will say this, though. If you are not confident you can get a deal done in the offseason, then trade him at the deadline. Don't hold on to him in hopes that you get something done. Mm-hmm. They must have had some sort of understanding with Donato that he was, because unless they tried to trade him, didn't get what they wanted, and then said, all right, let's try to resign you. I don't know. Maybe it's a lesson Kyle Davidson learned. I have no idea. But if you think that he's not coming back, if you're less than 75% on that, then flip him at the deadline. And then if he does want to come back, you negotiate with him as a UFA. You don't want to lose him for nothing if you don't have to. All right, we're going to wrap things up. The game's about to start. Join us as soon as the Hawks and Avs wrap up on the CHGO Blackhawks podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.